Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Musical People and Journeys. It's April, and it's Album of the Month time. We have reviewed this posse. Trish wasn't able to join us today, and neither was Dave, but we have been listening to 8 new albums that have been released, and we have voted on them. And today's show will be revealing, in reverse order, our albums of the month. And just to kind of go, the runners and riders that we reviewed this month: Bruce Dickinson's The Mandrake Product, Everything, Mountainhead; Kaiser Chiefs, the 88th album; Alterium of War and Flames; The Black Crows, Happiness Bastards; Sum 41, Heaven XL; Reach and Prophecy; and For Keeps, Too Close to Touch. Ian, you've got a lot of top marks in there. What do you hope would be the album of the month? What would be your album of the month?
Wow. What I'd love to be album of the month is Everything.
Okay.
What I think will be album of the month, I haven't voted highly for. I just want to keep it cryptic at the moment.
Chris, how about you? What do you reckon? Album of the month? What's going to be hopefully your album of the month?
I think album for the month for me was Too Close to Touch. Not just for the because my rating for it was before I realised that it was going to be the last album. The reasons behind it, I just really liked it, and it's a cracking album. So that's the one for me.
And Nate, how about you?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Totally agree, and not for the sentimental reasons. I think on its merit, it was the best album. But I would be lying if I said I hadn't hoped for Sum 41 as a Sum 41.
Well, you definitely gave Sum 41 the most votes in comparison.
I know. I think I was hoping for that. I think hope I don't think it's representative of my. I think that's my representative of my love for the band. They've got better. Did things to me on that one. I think
for Trish it would be Reach, and I think for me it would be For Keeps, and I think for Dave, looking at his votes, I think he would either gone for Kaiser Chiefs or Sum 41, bizarrely. Okay, so all right. Well, without further ado, let's crack on. In 8th place is. And I'm afraid Ian's going to be absolutely gutted. It's Everything, and Mountainhead. So far this year we reviewed 354. Sorry, in entirety we reviewed 354 albums, and this year so far we reviewed 50 albums. So got average of 2.7. It says in 200. It's in our top 250, 241st. And in 40th position kind of this year, so it's not going to be pushing to get into our top 20 albums of the.
It's an electronica album, unfortunately.
Yeah, and when I get to try to narrow it down, I only get to listen to maybe 1 or 2 tracks, and I think there were moments on everything that kind of got in there. Now, obviously, and you give it a 5, one of your many this month.
Absolutely.
So that was our highest rating, and our lowest rating was Trish. She only gave it 1.5. Everybody else was kind of middle of the road, 2s or 2.5s. But yeah, okay. In 7th place, we have. We have a tie, but basically the person with the most either 5s or 4s, I kind of go on count back, get it. But in 7th place is Sum 41 and Heaven XL, 3.1, and they, bizarrely the highest vote was Nathan, which for Nathan a 4. Nate is really, that's our equivalent of our 5s, really, isn't it? The way you score.
It is. I had a really, really good time listening to it, probably because of nostalgia as well. But I just think they write choruses you can sing along to. You're singing along to the chorus before the end of a song. Don't have to go back. But I also admit, probably a bit rose-tinted spectacles on it.
Yeah. It was tied on 3.1 with Bruce Dickinson and the Mandrake Project, which also got an average of 3.1. Mostly down to me and Ian. The reason it got the head is that both me and Ian give it a 4, and everybody else apart from Nate was a 0. It was either 3s or about that. So it kind of just edged over because 2 4s as opposed to 1 4 in 6th place. So Bruce Dickinson and the Mandrake project.
I think that's fair to say that me and you probably got the rose tinted spectacles on that one.
Well, no, it's
good,
again.
it's good,
We rate it on our listening pleasure, and I like the storytelling ballad version of it. And then when I did a bit more research into what the in terms of the graphic novel series and stuff, and I did some more research on the concept, and so I was able to get into the album a lot more. But yeah,
that was interesting to learn that. I'll look into that. If you got any links just to get me started on that, that'd be great.
Just
please.
type Mandrake project in there. And there's a whole website dedicated to Mandrake project.
Or don't. Or don't.
Or whatever. There's a lot of ties this month.
I appreciate the options.
Yeah. There was a lot of ties this month, actually, because in 5th and 4th place is also a tie on 3.5s. And again, on count back in terms of who got the most 5s and 4s, etc. as well. In 5th place was the Black Crows and Happiness Bastards. Average of 3.5. 128th out of the 354 albums and 21st this month, so it's probably just outside of potentially getting into our top 20. Again, the thing is with this one, other than one person who gave it a 5, which was Ian, everybody else was 3s across the board. I give it a 3.5. Everybody else give it a 3. Everybody else, but that's including Nathan. Everybody else, I got 3.5. Everybody else give it a 3. So it was very much, sometimes we align, don't we, people, in terms of what we call slightly above middle of the road, but yeah, that's kind of how it goes, oddly. But there we are.
And I think, sorry, Nigel, if you go back and listen to the episode where we review that, I think it's very much the case that most people said it's middle of the road, it's a decent album, it's good, and so it does just kind of fit quite nicely. That is just kind of where we rated everything. So
I agree.
Yeah, I would love to hear what people say. If you could listen to it for 2 or 3 months, listen to where the scores are after it when you've had that development listening.
Well, surely you're just saying, let me listen to anything else.
Not at all.
But I would say the same thing about Bruce
anything.
Dickinson. If you listen to the album and the storytelling of it, I think it's a grower. But we could do that. I go back and I listen to an album twice initially, and then I go back on the final week and listen to it again before, when I kind of do it. Anyway, in 4th place is Alterium and Of War and Flames. Also got 3.5, 128 21st. And again, the reason why is because they also got a 5 and a slightly better average. In fact, I might have got those back to front actually because I think Black Crow should have been in 4th on the count back, but they both got the same 128. Trish give it a 4.5. Now Ian, you give it a 5. That's why. Yeah, you give this a 5, and then Trish give it a 4.5, and then Dave hated it, Nathan hated it. And me and Cully were kind of somewhere slightly above average. I give it a 3 and Cully give it a 3.5. So just on the fact it got the higher votes, but the same score really. But yeah, you also give this a 5, and Trish adored it and give it a 4.5 as well. Now, interestingly, album of the month is a 3-way tie.
Wow.
It's a 3-way tie. But again, on count back, on who gives 5s and 4s and kind of counting back with the most 5s and the most 4s, etc., etc. Each of these albums got 3.7, so none of the albums hit our Hall of Fame, but still a bloody good score. And 102nd in our all-time album list, jointly with a whole bunch of albums at 3.7, and are currently 16th in our top albums of the year so far. So in 3rd place on count back is For Keeps with Too Close to Touch, which actually I think in retrospect, I mean, the only surprising thing, because both me and Trish give it 4.5s. Dave and Ian, Dave was going to give it a 2, Ian give it a 2.5. But Nathan, your what surprising vote here in terms of your vocabulary and your pitch and how much you loved it, but you still only give this a 3. Is that something you regret? Do you think in retrospect you should have maybe give it more?
Yeah, I think I'd knock that up for sure. But I don't approach the marking the same. I've learnt this. Where my first stint on the show, I learnt this. For me, a 5 is life-changing. You've made it into a thing I'm gonna play regularly.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's what it is for me. Not just like a good time at the time. It has to be like monumental for me. And I am an asshole about music. Like music school does that to you, and I'm an asshole already. You know what I mean?
Not just about music. I was going to add to that. Not just about music.
Yeah,
but, you know.
yeah. I think I'd call it a 4 if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because I really think it was good shit. So yeah, I do about that.
Yeah. You're obviously going to find out this one, but in second place is Reach and Prophecy with a 3.7 as well. Highlight in terms of the voting there was Trish with a 5. I give it a 4. Everybody else, again, 3 or 3.5 with a lot of you, really, from that perspective, which leaves us to reveal the winner of our album of the month by a penalty shootout with Kaiser Chiefs and the Easy 8 album. He's shaking his head, but yeah, a lot of people like this. Ian, you give it a 5. Trish, give it a 4. 3.5s, 4s across the board. Nathan hated it. Cully didn't mind it. But yeah, it literally got it because Ian and Trish kind of give it higher marks, and everybody else kind of somewhere in the road. But yeah, so I
think this month I gave loads of 5s. I gave 4 5s this month.
You did 4 5s,
and all of the albums were different. And I haven't given lots of 5s since we did the 10s last year. 10 albums in a month, and it was just. I thought, really, am I giving 5 to 4 different albums? That's a lot. And I went back and listened to those albums, and they all made it onto the albums I love playlist that I've got. But so I did question it, because I'm like, wow, am I being a little bit too fluid here? But no, absolutely love them. I agree with Nathan. You've got to really find that thing you want to listen to, want to go and explore more, and they all had that for me. So some weeks I'll have 1s and 2s all over the place, but months.
Well, it was Dave's it was Dave's highest rated album as well, and that's what tipped the tie-break balance at the end of the day. But
I feel like it's a very good illustration of why the Kaiser Chiefs have been around so long. Is that they are essentially haven't desperately offended anyone, but nor does anyone desperately love them. They're just there, man. Like, so it probably shouldn't be that surprised.
No,
you spoke to me 10 years ago about would I give Kaiser Chiefs 5 out of 5 for an album? Absolutely no way.
No.
But Evolution has been fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there it is. Kaiser Chiefs. We've got 2 albums of the month. Kaiser Chiefs have won this group's stuff in there. If you like what you've heard, please like and subscribe. Check out the Kaiser Chiefs album. But equally, Reach and For Keeps were equally really good albums and stuff as well. So anyway, thank you very much to my wonderful panel today, to Nate, to Chris, and to Ian, and to both Trish and to Chris for voting and taking part. And hopefully we'll see you next month. Keep rocking out there. And see you. Goodbye for now, everybody.
Definitely. Like, share and subscribe.